I am so excited to get started today to share with you the Ocean Waves socks, which is my first sock pattern for the Summer of Socks 2026. Now, this is one of my favorite patterns, even though it is toe up. Everybody knows that I'm usually a cuff down girl, but I really love this pair of socks starting from the toe up because we're just doing a generic toe and extended single crochet for the foot. My favorite part of the sock itself is the reverse heel flap and gusset so that you can get up to the leg. And my absolute favorite part of the sock is the leg. And what's great about the leg is it's a very simple ripple stitch that you change colors every two rows. And you can make it as long or as short as you want. So if you only want a couple color changes, you can just do, an ankle sock with the, maybe to here. If you want more color changes, you want a higher sock, you can do that as well. And it's done so that it's a little bit tighter so that it'll hug your leg and stay up. So right now we're gonna roll the video on how to do a toe because that is usually the biggest pain point for crocheters who wanna make socks. So we're gonna roll that video and then I'll be back. In this video, I'm gonna show you how to start the toe and do the toe for a toe up sock. And before we get started, I wanna make sure you know I'm using the smallest hook that the pattern calls for. Whatever pattern you're doing, always use the smallest hook that's called for or that you use to get gauge. And the other thing I wanted to let you know before we get started is this toe can be fiddly at first. You have to trust the process when we're making the toe. So I just want to make sure you know that. So to start the toe, we're going to chain, I'm going to chain 10 because I'm doing the smallest size. So I'm going to chain my 10. And I need some more yarn here. I should have 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. I always try to do the chain for the toe a little looser than my stitches are going to be, just so that I can get that first round working. So I'm actually going to be working into 9 of those chains. The 10th is our turning chain, and we're going to be working on both sides of the chain. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to skip the first chain and we're going to work on the back side of the chain where there's the bumps going down the center, and we're going to skip the first bump and we're going to go into the second bump, and I need to turn that a little more. There we go. So when you're working into the bump, you're just going to pick up one strand, and there it is. So there's one. And we got to do that 8 more times. So 2, and there's single crochets, 3, 4, 'I told you this is a little fiddly. The chain is so small and the fabric's so small, it's hard to hold it. But, and don't be afraid if you split the yarn. It just fix it as you go. So this is 5. Wait, let's make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm on number 6. So this is 7. 8, and 9. Now that we've got our 9 stitches, we're going to put a stitch marker. I'm going to actually use my silver one here because we are going to mark that 9th stitch because that is going to tell us where we're going to be turning a corner, and that's our marked stitch when the pattern calls for a marked stitch. So now we're going to turn this upside down, and we are going to work 1 single crochet on the opposite side of the chain. And if you look at the opposite side of the chain, you can actually see chains. So we're going to actually work underneath both parts of the chain. So I'm going to bring that up closer so you can see this is the first one. And here's where it gets fiddly again because the tail sometimes gets in the way. So, and sometimes we lose our stitch. There we go. So we're just going to go 1 and 2. Ah, I told you, fiddly. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is right there, and then 9 is the last one, and then 9 is right there. And then I'm going to take a different color stitch marker. In this case, I'm going to use red, and that is going to mark that last stitch. Okay. So if you watched my toe or my cuff down toe, you know that we do one round even, and then the next round we decrease. Well, it's the opposite of decreasing here. We're going to increase every other round. There's going to be a total of 10 rounds for our toe, no matter what size you're doing. But instead of doing a decrease, we're going to increase on either side of the marker. So this is our marked stitch right here. And the first one we're going to do is, I'm going to try to get this into my very first single crochet here. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do 2 single crochets in this marked stitch. So 1, 2, or unmarked stitch, the very first stitch. Then we're going to single crochet all the way over to the first single crochet before the next marked stitch. And I apologize, my camera's moving as I do this. And again, it's fiddly because it's really small and it's hard to really give you a lot of detail until I get to the end of the round, or the end of the side of the round. Okay, so now we've got our stitch marker there, and we've got one more single crochet, and I'm going to increase there. So I'm going to do 2 stitches. 1, 2, and 2. Sometimes you have to really think about it. There we go. Then we're going to take out this stitch marker, if it'll let me do it. And then we do 1 single crochet in that last marked stitch there that we did on this side. And there we go. Okay. Again, it's going to start cupping now. And so this row and the next row are probably going to be a little fiddly, but as you get it bigger, it won't be so fiddly. So now we've got that marked stitch, and then we're going to do 2 in this next one. So I'm going to do the 2 here really quick. And then I'm going to pull that out and show you. I'm going to try to get it as close as I can without blurring it. So there's our marked stitch right there. And if you look on either side, I'm going to try to pull the stitch marker up so that I can see it. Okay, so there's our marked stitch. And then on either side, there's 2 single crochets right there. 1, 2 in one stitch. And on the other side, there are 2 single crochets in the other. 1, 2. So now we are going to put our hook back in. And we are going to go all the way across, just single crocheting into the next stitch. Let's
starting in the next stitch, and do 1 single crochet all the way across until we get to the stitch before the marked stitch. Again, it's really fiddly at this point, so just trust the process. Don't get frustrated if you split the yarn. If you have trouble, you know, just slow down and relax and it'll get there. So, okay, so we're 1 stitch. This is the last stitch before the marked stitch. So we're going to do 2 singles in that to increase. And then to end this round 2, take out the stitch marker, just do 1 in that marked stitch, and then put the marker back in, and we're done with round 2. So you want to have 2 different color markers and know which one is the end of round. So now my red is going to be the end of round. So I know I finished round 2 when I had got to the red. Now round 3 is just single crochet in each stitch. But before we do that, I want to pull out my stitch here and pull out my hook and show you that now here's the marked stitch. I have 2 single crochets before it, 1, 2 in the same stitch. And remember, the very beginning of the round, we did 2 single crochets in the very first stitch. And so there we go, 1, 2. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to single crochet in each stitch around until we get, and including that red stitch, which is the end of round. When I say end of round, that means we still have to work that stitch before we can move on. So we're just going to single crochet in each one of these, and this works the same as the cuff down. So we started with just a flat round of even round of single crochet around. That was 18. Now I increased by 4, so that gives us 22 total around. Now I'm going to just do an even round of single crochet. Then the next round is increasing for 4 stitches, and we're going to do that for total of 10 rows. The very last row we do, the number 10 is going to be increased, and in my case I'm going to have 38 stitches. So I'm going to go ahead and complete the toe. I'm going to do a round of single crochet, and then I'm going to do another round of increases, and when I come back we will have a toe that I'm going to talk about a little bit more. Okay, as you can see here, I have finished my toe. I'm going to pull my hook out here, and you can see here's my toe. I've got increases evenly on both sides. Because of the nature of crochet, you're not going to end up right at the edges, and that's okay, because you can still start your leg, or not your leg, your foot, and you just keep going until you're ready to do whichever heel you are planning to do for your sock. But we are complete. So what you would do is you would change your hook to your larger size hook, and then just start your extended single crochets, or whatever stitch is the stitch that you need to do for your foot. But that's all there is to it. It's going to end up looking like this once it's on the rest of the sock and it's folded and everything. I usually leave the tail inside until I know for sure that everything's working out properly and I don't have to rip out the toe. But then once the toe is gotten to or the sock has gotten to a certain point, I'll weave this tail in so I don't have it in my way as I'm working on everything else. But that is all there is to a toe up sock, and I hope you enjoyed it.
So everybody, that's the toe. From here, it's just straightforward extended single crochet until you're ready to start your heel. Ocean Waves is available on my website at KarenWhooley.com. The link is in the description. Before you go, I want to make sure you have my free pattern reading guide. If you've ever sat down with a new pattern and had no idea where to begin, this guide breaks down the abbreviations, the terminology, and those US versus UK terms that trip up everyone. It's free and it comes straight to your inbox. Grab it at the link in the description. I'm also live on YouTube every weekday morning at 7:30 a.m. Pacific time for the morning hook. I hope you'll come join me.